What is up with it? Today we are doing something a little different. We are going to be watching some of the Singapore CS finals. This is to help determine who goes to Worlds, so an extremely important tournament. This was, to my knowledge, originally only um, streamed on the Team Seafood King Twitch. I'll have their stuff down below. Phenomenal organization to everything that I know. I've watched a lot of their content myself. But I'm actually recording this off of RJ's channel. Shoutouts to RJ. RJ actually is the very first YouTube creator that I ever watched. Way back when I got into the game at the start of 07, I loved his BY content, watched it every single day, learned so much from him. Phenomenal content creator, really responsive, educational. Honestly, can make an argument he's my favorite One Piece creator on the entire platform. Love RJ so much. But yeah, so this is going to be a Doflamingo mirror. Going to be interesting to see how the Eastern players play it. Maybe we learn a little bit, something that they do differently than what we do. To my knowledge, this player won the rock, paper, scissors and chose to go second, and both players mulliganed. Okay, so part of the reason why I decided to do this on RJ instead of the stream was that when I tried to watch the stream, it was really poor quality, like so unbelievably bad that I couldn't watch anything because Twitch is a horrible platform. But it's not that much better here, but it is actually at least viewable. So this player really thinking about their stack. Looks like we have one of the players from Elevate. I'm not exactly sure who. I know they've got a lot of strong players on their team. 2 Dawn turn, we're starting with the Perona. You like to see that. In the stack, awful stack from everything I see. Unless there's anything. Okay, and in the hand, it looks like we just have 2Ks. I think I saw a Jozu really quick and a Teach. So the hand is not very strong. We're not seeing any Jinbeis, any Weaviles, anything like that. And then the stack from what I saw was like actually just like Mihawks and 2Ks. Which to me is an instant bottom deck. I'm not 100% sure what he's thinking about. He's rearranging them. Okay, so there's a Perona in there too. He's rearranging them almost as though he's thinking of. Okay, no, he's throwing them to the bottom. Okay, and he's also going to play the Buggy just to try and ensure. Okay, so we have a Weevil. That's already a better start. The Weevil will be really strong next turn. We can either elect to play it off the top with leader effect, which will be in a way more plus. Or what we can do is we can try to set up our future turns to be a little bit stronger. So if we draw it and then we play the Teach, then we'll be setting up our Jozu or a Gravity Blade on that 8 Dawn turn, which we know we have the Jozu, and I think I could be mistaken, but there might have been a Gravity Blade in that Buggy stack. So we just Swan 7, played the Law, bounced our own dude, it went through. No surprise there. Looks like we Teach, swinging 8 at the Law to play the Weevil. You have to imagine that that's going to go through. Okay, so running into actually the same color blurs that I experienced on Twitch. So, oh, funny enough, RJ is doing the exact same thing that I did. Okay, I think that this actually might not have been Twitch's fault. This might just be the raw recording footage. Because this is the exact moment where it became unwatchable for me too. So, so sorry. This is just, I think, how it is. Very, very unfortunate. So we're on the 5 Dawn turn. It looks like we elected to play the Perona again. And we're thinking about throwing the stack to the bottom. I couldn't see what it was. Yep, we threw it to the bottom. Oh, and we're just going to blind 8 into Weevil to find a Weevil. Wow. Wow. Very fortunate. Yeah, it looks like the players are laughing to themselves. They know that that was like, you know, when you throw it to the bottom and you have 4 Dawn left and you just decide like, hey, I'm gonna hit here. Part of the card's type energy. So the right player has a lot of counter. A ton of counter. I don't think it's impossible that they counter this. Yeah, they did. They gave 2 2Ks nonetheless. I'm not that surprised to see that. I don't think it's the ideal move in this spot. Like, you would prefer to not counter for the Weevil here. But the thing is, your hand just doesn't have very many plays. So you kind of have to try and keep your board because you don't have anything currently to replace your board with. You just have all this, you know, this counter. So if you're not going to use it, if you're not going to use the cards in your hand to play them, you might as well use them to protect what is on your board. I wasn't able to see what's in the stack other than it looked like he put the Sengoku as the 3rd card. Gonna go ahead and leader effect playing another Boa. So that's nice. That means that we're gonna get to swing 7 twice. I think he swung at lead. I think the right player only has 3 cards in hand and the left player has, I think, upwards of 6. I could be mistaken. Yeah, so if we swung 7, yep, we swung at life. We're taking it. No Gravity Blade trigger, no Red Rock trigger. I think we have upwards of 7 cards in the left player's hand compared to only 3 in the right. Will be interesting to see if they elect to take this or not. Based on the fact that they didn't have anything super strong to play last turn, and they had the blind leader effect, it's possible that if the Weevil didn't draw anything and that first life didn't draw anything, it's possible they take this if for no reason other than they want to find good cards. You know, you really want to be finding your Jinbeis, your Laws, all that. I would be interested. Okay, so he's going to counter this one. Okay, he's going to give the pudding. That makes sense. He's going to give the 2K Law. Very reasonable. At this exact moment, it definitely feels like the player on the right is pretty far ahead. They only have 3 cards in hand, though. So it's possible we could force out some of this board just by swinging. And yep, it looks like we're going 6 at 6. Just saying, hey, look, last turn you gave me 2 2Ks to protect out of a 7. That tells me that you probably don't have any 1Ks, or at least not any 1Ks that you would prefer to have countered out with. So I'm gonna pressure that. I'm gonna swing even with your board and say, hey, you have to give me the counter. Okay, so gonna go 7. Into the, okay, so going 8 now. Okay. Throwing them to the bottom. Was that Boa blind hit? Was that Boa blind? I think it was. Yo, this man is sick. He is crazy with it. Oh my goodness. Okay. You know, who needs the Perona to stack your deck if you're just going to hit Weevil Boa blind? So that turn we were able to play quite a few characters. It looks like he played the 2K Loss standing. Makes a bit of sense. Next turn is going to be our 9 Dawn turn, so we should have, you know, at least 1 extra Dawn that we can float. That way we can just get the extra swing and then bounce it back to our hand. But the fact that they did that tells me that their hand is full of a lot of weak cards. Not a lot of playable cards if they chose to play the Law there over anything else. Okay. It's possible they could have more puddings in their hand. Possible they have a lot of 2Ks. Maybe some Jozus or Gravity Blades. Technically possible they have another Jinbei. Okay, so he took that 6 swing. That is super interesting. I would love to know how many cards he has in hand. I have to imagine a lot of the time we're going to see a Jozu come down here. I'm really shocked he took that 6K swing, because now you know you're going to have to counter out of some 7s. Which I have to imagine he had that 2K in his hand. I would like to bounce the Weevil here personally, is what I would like to see. You bounce the Boa, and he's going into his 9 Dawn turn. If he has a second Boa, you're just giving him. See, I'm not a. He does know the top of his deck. Yeah, I would like to see the Weevil. I'm really shocked that he took that first 6. I don't think I like that. Maybe he was scared that his opponent would start swinging into his board. If he countered out of it, but I think most of the time players are not going to be swinging at 6s, especially when they're ahead the way that the right player is. He doesn't need to be swinging at these 6K bodies. He's so clearly in the lead. So he countered out of 2 of them. Looks like he used a Perona, and I missed the second thing that he countered out with. But he's got a lot of hands, or a lot of cards in his grip now. Got the 9 Dawn. We know the Weevil. I believe I saw a Sengoku in there, a Jozu. He does know the top of his deck, so he could potentially go Jozu and Leader Effect. Okay, so we are still trying to swing these 6s at the board, saying, hey, I know you're low on cards in hand. You still haven't proved to me that you have a 1K you're comfortable with countering with. So I'm going to try and take advantage of that. That said, I would be pretty surprised if the player on the left wins this game at this point. Looks like we have the Gecko in hand. I have to imagine we're countering this. Like, if you don't counter this, you can, continue to just swing at the board. My apologies if you just heard my dog in the background. We have a Sengoku, we have a Gecko. Okay, so valuing the Sengoku over the Gecko. I believe the last card in hand then is Buggy, so we know it's Buggy and Sengoku. The Sengoku can be really good if they decide to play the Jozu and bounce our Jozu. That said, I think if they do Jozu bounce our Jozu here, it's really weak. We don't get to swing with the Law this turn if we do that. The Jinbei has to swing at life, which is fine. They'll take 100% of the time. I don't think the Jozu is strong here, personally. I think you are, when you get into the Jozu war in a spot like this where you're so clearly behind, and you don't have Teach and they do, I think it's a real trap. Oh, I think he might be going for it. I really don't like it if he goes for it. If anything, what I would like to see here is you don't Jozu their Jozu, and you just, he's going to be so low on cards. Like, look, he just gave you another 2K. He's going to be so low on cards. I just want to attach Dawn and swing at these 6s. Honestly, it's all I want to do here. I think the Jozu is so weak. Like, the opponent actually wants you to Jozu them here. When you Jozu them here, it actually gives them so much value. Okay, I like seeing this. Yeah, there we go. You gotta continue. Once you've swung at board the way you have to continue, I think. How much Dawn do we have remaining? We have 6 remaining. Which unfortunately means that we don't get to swing at it 3 times. If we could swing at it 3 times, that would actually be so good here. I think we just have to swing at it twice. And The numbers are just awkward. Oh, we have a Jinbei in hand. Okay, that's really interesting. Okay, choosing not to play it. Oh, no. No, why are we swinging 7 there? What are we doing with the final 2 Dawn? Me personally, I don't like this. I guess it's fine. His plan is probably he wants to just continue trying to starve his opponent. His opponent only has 1 card in hand. I don't believe he knows the top of his deck. So his plan is to try and stabilize with card advantage. And then... Okay, he has double Sengoku. I like it a lot more if there's double Sengoku. Okay, this turn actually ended up not especially bad for us. But it just really depends on what the right player has in his hand, right? Like imagine we did all that and then they just go Gravity Blade, Teach Effect, and they swing 7, 7, 8 and cleared your, basically your board, most of it at least, and then got to put you down to probably 1 or 0 or take infinite cards out of your hand. So a good response from the left player, but definitely is open to... Oh, is that actually a Gravity Blade in hand? It might actually be a Gravity Blade. If it's actually... I think I didn't see what he added off Sengoku, actually, so it's probably just whatever he added off Sengoku. I was too busy thinking about ways that the left player could still get blown out. Left player definitely super ahead in card advantage. But they're definitely going to be taxed quite a few cards this turn, I would imagine. In this spot, I like, personally, continuing to pressure life. You're going to have a lot of extra Dawn. So if you start swinging like 7s at 5s on the board, your opponent is going to be like, okay, cool. I have infinite cards in hand. I'll take that. You can remove that thing on my board. I'm just going to replace it next turn. So in that sense, you like, where is he swinging? Is he swinging at life? He must have swung at life. Or wait, that was, yeah, 2 2Ks. Okay, so swinging 8 again. Yeah, really trying to pressure the life. I like this. I like this a lot. Yep, 2 2Ks again. Yeah, just a grip of 2Ks. I wonder how many he plays. Both of these players seem to have gotten a lot of 2Ks, so it's possible that they're playing, the West we seem to like 10 or 11. I've seen the East play 12 a lot more. I've even seen some lists play 14, 15, so I'd be interested in seeing what these players are electing to do. Oh, that's so strong. Okay, he probably grabbed that law off of the Sengoku, and I just missed it. The question is, what does he want to bounce here? Does he want to bounce the Gecko or the Jinbei? I think I would prefer to see the Gecko bounced. Bouncing the Jinbei just kind of doesn't really do anything. We are in an issue, though, where we do still only have 2 cards in hand. Okay, so another... So the opposing player is going to know everything in our hand, which I don't love. We did put them down to 1, though, so we're really racing them at this point, which is a little interesting because we went second, and a lot of games, the person who goes first is racing. Oh, 10 Dawn swing 5? Okay, I have to imagine that's because we're playing double 4s, including the Boa. So I imagine we're going like Jinbei, Boa, maybe we play like a raw Weevil from hand. Or maybe a bounce log could potentially come out. And then we'll leader effect. I have to... Oh, you got to take this, man. Come on. Yeah, come on. You gotta take this. Oh, Gravity Blade. Oh, yeah, that hurts for sure. Gravity Blade into Teach. This is exactly what you want to see on 10. Okay. Yeah, I think RJ is wondering if he can fix the quality. I think this is genuinely just the raw footage. Um, like when they were streaming it in real time, I think the stream was dying. I don't think it's a VOD issue. Um, I could be mistaken. Let me know if anyone knows, if anyone watched this in real time or anything. But honestly, I think there's just actually nothing we can do about it. Because as I said, I attempt. Okay, so we're going for the gecko. We're adding a 2k back to hand. Interesting that he chose to play the gecko instead of the Weavile. I guess he just thinks that the gecko is going to get guaranteed 2k value. And also he doesn't care about he doesn't care about the fact that it's only a 5k body. So we know the law and we know a buggy in hand. We should have 2 more cards other than that. We can still kind of race them here. Oh, it looks like we picked up a Jinbei. Okay, so we can go like Jinbei, Weevil, Law, bounce one of their dudes, bounce the Law, Teach effect, play the Law, bounce one of their dudes, and we can swing 8, and we establish 2 bodies this turn, if I'm seeing the hand correct. So establish 2 standing bodies, remove both of his 2 5k bodies, while swinging 8, which, of course, as the left player, you have to counter out of that 8. You cannot go to 0 in this match. Oh, maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe there wasn't a Weevil. If there's not a Weevil, then I don't think there's another good 4-drop to play off the Jinbei necessarily. We could triple bounce. Honestly, we could. We could bounce the Teach. I don't even hate that. It feels a lot worse because we're only establishing 1 body. Really thinking about it. Yeah, I can't tell. I keep thinking I'm seeing the Weevil and then thinking maybe it's just a buggy. I think it's just a buggy. Yeah, I don't think he has the Weevil. I feel like me personally, oh, you could always Perona. You have the 1 extra Dawn. See what's on top. Oh, interesting. He attached what, 5 there? So he's gonna go double 7. Pretty interesting play, honestly. Not one that I was personally considering. But this does demand, 2k, 1k, 2k, 1k this turn. Maybe this was a really good play. And they have a Boa, so I think you have to bounce the Law back. I have to imagine what he's going to do here is he's going to double Law. I think this 7k swing was honestly not something that I was considering, but I think it was actually pretty good. Setting him up so that we can tax his hand, so that way if he takes this next hit, we can kill him next turn, obviously, by just basically swinging 15 at life. Or if he doesn't take this next hit, we've then taken so many cards out of his hand. One of the previous turns, I liked bouncing the Gecko. I actually think this next turn, I prefer bouncing the Jinbei. Because one of the only ways that he's going to be able to continue to get good counter cards in his hand. Okay, really taking a long time on this, honestly. At this point, if I was the left player, I'd say, hey, can we maybe please make an action? That wasn't blind, was it? Surely there's no way that was blind. Maybe he stacked the Jinbei with Teach. He must have. Yeah, he must have. Okay. Yeah. He did for sure. He just didn't attach Dawn, and I missed it. Oh, bouncing 2 of his own things? I do really think if you're the left player, you could maybe call him on that and be like, hey, you already added the other Sengoku, but these players are probably friends, and also it's not going to change the game state enough. If he did that, personally, I wouldn't hate it. I know a lot of people would think that's kind of scummy, kind of sharky, but you know, when you make an action, you make an action. This is a very high level, important game. Like if you make a mistake, you kind of have to live with it. But again, it won't change anything. So like whatever, you can let him get away with it. Right player. I actually really like this line from the right player. Honestly, I think it was really good. I think it was better than what I would have done. Just swinging 7, swinging 9, and just the fact that he didn't bounce either of the things on the opponent's board, though, I'm not sure I'm crazy about that. But maybe he did the math and he just knows that his opponent can never kill him no matter how he splits up the Dawn, so he didn't care. So we have 8 Dawn left. Can go like you can go like 6, 7, 7. Or 6, 7, 9 if you have the perfume in hand already. But there are a few cards still on the right player's hand. I think 3 or 4. So it feels like you're probably never getting there. So maybe just bouncing your own things was perfectly fine. Especially since when you bounce the Sengoku, it means that, worst case scenario, if they Gravity Blade your Teach, you could still, like, the scariest thing that the left player could probably do is like Gravity Blade the Jinbei plus Teach, and then Teach stack a Jinbei, and then Jinbei Weevil, or Jinbei Boa. Like, I would say if you're the right player, that's the scariest thing that the left player could do. So by keeping this Sengoku, by bouncing your own Sengoku, you're giving yourself a potential out to that, right? Because if the Sengoku finds Perfume, or really even if it finds another Teach, you're in a pretty good spot. Because if it finds the Teach, then you get to play your Law for effectively only 2 Dawn. The 1 Dawn that you're resting off leader effect, and the 1 Dawn that you played the Sengoku. Whereas if you just played the raw Law, then it takes 4 Dawn. And the difference between a 11k swing and a 13k swing when going for game obviously is very, 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 very large. Possible to counter out of an 11, 13 is a much taller order. Left player really considering their options. I really do like the way that right player played their turn. They could still get hit by the Gravity Blade shenanigans I just talked about, but I don't think the left player has it. I think they would have done it already. 3 cards in hand, I think, is what they were just signaling. I'm going to be really interested in seeing what he does here. Okay, so swinging, yep, 6 of life, just like I thought. Yep, and I have to imagine this is getting countered. Wants to count his opponent's Dawn. Kind of funny. I don't know if I've ever seen Western players do that. I don't know if that's an Eastern player thing or just what this dude wanted to do. The other dude acted like it was pretty reasonable. I think this is really funny. He just kind of wants to physically see exactly how he could divide it. I don't know. Touching the other players, oh, I think maybe they just went into time. That would make a lot of sense. I do feel like these players haven't been playing the fastest, but I understand the situation is pretty big. I mean, you can probably just take this, right? It looks like he's got enough counter in the grip. I could be wrong. Oh, never mind. He didn't have any 2Ks. I was completely wrong about that. So now he's gonna go 5, and then 5, and then 7, or maybe 6/6. Yeah, there's a 1K. Yeah, you gotta imagine that's game. Yep, looks like he conceded, I believe, is what's happening here. But anyways, shoutouts again to Team Seafood King. Shoutouts again to RJ. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you again.